Look up at the night sky. In the infinite vacuum, our planet possesses one of the rarest, most complex phenomena imaginable: self-aware, analyzing intelligence. The universe is teeming with matter, but not with observable thought. This presents a profound scientific mystery. How did raw, inert chemistry give rise to the ability to reason, predict, and ultimately question its own existence? This isn't just natural history. It's the investigation into the very mechanism that makes us relevant. Before we trace the lineage of the human mind, we must first define the challenge. Intelligence, in evolutionary terms, is not about solving algebraic equations. It is the capacity for adaptive behavior derived from learning and abstraction. It is the sophisticated computation of resources, risk, and future payoff. We are analyzing a series of high-stakes metabolic gambles that stretched across billions of years, each one unlocking a new dimension of reality for its inheritors. Our journey begins not with humanity, nor even primates, but with the fundamental architecture required for complex thought. The first necessary ingredient was the nervous system, a quick, specialized pathway for electrochemical signaling. The early invertebrates, like jellyfish and worms, established the critical foundation, sensing the environment and responding with directed action. This laid the blueprint for centralized processing, prioritizing speed over mere size. The Cambrian explosion, roughly 540 million years ago, was the crucible of cognitive evolution. Suddenly, life developed hard body parts, locomotion, and critically dedicated organs for sight and predation. This dramatic escalation resulted in a cognitive arms race. If you couldn't perceive threats or opportunities faster than your neighbor, you were eliminated. The pressure to process input rapidly demanded increasingly specialized ganglia, the precursors to brains. But individual processing has limits. The next major leap was the distributed intelligence found in social structures. We see this in highly collaborative species today: swarms of fish, massive bird flocks, or ant colonies. Their collective behavior solves environmental problems that no single unit could manage. This provides early evidence that intelligence, even in its most primal forms, is fundamentally enhanced by communication and information sharing. The transition to terrestrial life introduced entirely new variables. Navigating a three-dimensional, variable environment demanded sophisticated spatial mapping and predictive modeling. We see this acutely in birds, particularly corvids, whose problem-solving abilities rival those of some primates, demonstrating that raw brain size is only one metric. Efficiency and complexity of neural wiring often prove more decisive. The primate lineage pushed these pressures to an extreme. Arboreal life required precise hand-eye coordination for grasping, depth perception for leaping, and fine motor control for manipulation. This constant engagement with a 3D, high-risk environment acted as a continuous, intense selection filter for better processing power, physically wiring complexity into the neocortex. Here lies the great metabolic paradox. Brain tissue is extraordinarily expensive. The human brain, representing only 2% of body mass, consumes over 20% of the body's energy budget. For ancestral humans, carrying this massive energy liability only made evolutionary sense if the cognitive returns, cooperation, successful hunting, evasion, outweighed the immense caloric cost. This required a fundamental shift in energy acquisition. That required shift came with the control of fire. Cooking food predigests it, releasing significantly more calories for the same volume. The metabolic subsidy provided by cooked meals is one of the most underappreciated catalysts in human evolution, freeing up energy previously needed for massive guts to be rerouted toward the burgeoning, hungry brain. Fire made big brains possible. But big brains alone do not guarantee human-level intelligence. The critical psychological breakthrough was the theory of mind. This is the ability to attribute mental states, beliefs, desires, intentions to oneself and to others. Once our ancestors could predict what someone else was thinking, cooperative hunting, complex teaching, and deceptive strategies became possible, creating hypersocial feedback loops that accelerated cognitive growth exponentially. If theory of mind was the operating system, language was the radical software update. Language externalized internal thought. It allowed for abstract concepts like justice, tomorrow, or zero to be shared, refined, and built upon across generations. Knowledge became cumulative and portable. This cultural evolution drastically outpaced biological evolution, locking us into a unique trajectory where technology and abstraction are our primary survival tools. This evolutionary history reveals a paradox. Human intelligence is not a smoothly optimized machine. It is a kludge, a collection of evolutionary hacks and cognitive biases, shortcuts that were effective for surviving the Pleistocene but often fail us spectacularly in the modern information age. We evolved to prioritize immediate social status and pattern recognition, not objective, long-term statistical analysis. This leads us to a crucial distinction: the difference between intelligence and consciousness. Intelligence is processing power. It is what we do. Consciousness, often defined as subjective experience or being, is how we experience it. We can now engineer artificial intelligence that solves complex problems far faster than we can, yet lacks the subjective experience, the inner life, that we associate with our own evolutionary journey. The speed of technological progress now dwarfs the speed of natural selection. It took millions of years for our ancestors to gain 5 IQ points. It takes AI researchers mere months to achieve comparable computational leaps. Our hardware is fixed, constrained by cranial size and metabolic limits. The intelligence we created is now evolving on a non-biological timescale, forcing us to reevaluate our role as the singular pinnacle of cognitive achievement. The bottleneck is embodied cognition. Our intelligence remains tied to physical, biological systems, to our senses, our limited lifespan, and our inherent energy needs. Future intelligences, free from these biological constraints, could utilize the entire energy output of a planet or star, creating forms of abstraction and understanding that are currently inaccessible or even unimaginable to the human mind. Understanding the evolution of intelligence is not just a historical exercise. It's a modern necessity. It defines our constraints and clarifies the nature of the systems we are currently building. By studying the metabolic costs, the social pressures, and the environmental urgency that shaped us, we gain a foundational understanding of the deep, often irrational biases we carry into the age of exponential technology. Ultimately, intelligence is a highly specialized survival tool, brilliantly effective for the niche in which it evolved. Whether it proves to be a permanent, sustainable feature of this planet or merely a temporary, high-energy phase preceding a non-biological successor remains the great unknown. Our cognitive explosion was a singular event driven by unique circumstance. Now, we must govern the singularity we have accidentally initiated. What do you believe is the single greatest evolutionary weakness we retain from our primitive past? And how should we apply the lessons of deep-time evolution to manage the future of artificial intelligence? Join the investigation in the comments below. If you found this analytical deep dive valuable, like this video and subscribe for more explorations into the mechanisms that shape our existence.